Hello everybody, girls and gays, my dearest followers, my mom. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. So happy to hear from you guys again. We are out here, finally, in Glimmerbrook, working on my very first Realm of Magic speed build. I got big feelings about this one. When I first started playing The Sims, when I was, 8 years old, a million years ago, Making Magic was like the peak expansion pack. I would run around dueling with my Sims, going to those crazy like carts where you could buy all the weird shit and the potions and all that other cool stuff. And oh my god, I loved it so much. I mean, all my Sims like wizards. I love wizards. I was Harry Potter for like 8 years during, for Halloween when I was a kid. And I was like super hyped when I was a kid playing The Sims 1 Making Magic. So when Realm of Magic came out, I was like, that's sick, but I have no money. Now I finally got it. I'm out here building a house for a witch. I'm pretty excited about this one. This is this build definitely took me some time. This build was a bit of a struggle, actually. I felt super not inspired when I first started working on it, and the entire floor plan just like was not coming along. I had a lot of trouble with the roof. I wanted my first like vision was, like the sort of hobbity houses that have these like big sort of like curvy hill like roofs, and they have these like little lips with these hidden windows and grass and stuff on top. That's what I was thinking. So I tried to mess around with these really super fun curvy roofs, and it just ended up kind of being like a hot mess. But eventually I did figure it out. I wanted the house to be kind of small and cute and compact and have all these like little layers and these nice little curvy roofs, and I think I figured it out. I busted this one out a little, better than I thought I was able to. But anyway, hope you guys are doing all right. Hope you're finding some way to stay entertained during our lovely little pandemic. I know I'm doing my very best. I've been quarantined at my mom's house for like 7 weeks, losing it, having a good time, playing a lot of video games, still watching a lot of movies. Actually, the other day I watched a movie about a witch trial. I've been getting kind of witchy with it recently, which is, kind of fun. But, playing video games. I've been playing a lot of city builder games. I love strategy games. I've been playing Foundation, which is a game that's on, it's like a medieval city builder game. It's in alpha on Steam. Would check it out. Love that game. I recently bought, yesterday actually, Total War 3 Kingdoms, which I'm pretty hyped about. What other games do you guys play? Just out of curiosity. What did like Sims players play that aren't Sims games? Besides like Animal Crossing. Because like all Sims players and also gay people play Animal Crossing. And Sims players and gay people, the Venn diagram there is a circle, quite frankly. So what else do you guys like to play? Let me know. Sound off in the chats. And by chats, I mean comments. Anyway, a little bit about this build. I constructed this witchy cottage for a Sim named Agatha Tuttle. Agatha Tuttle she's an elder, and she is like Glimmerbrook's resident potion seller. She's this kind of cute old lady. She lives in this little cottage all alone. In the back, there's this giant garden. In her kitchen, she's got this massive cauldron, and she's just spending all day kind of like whipping up potions that she sells to her neighbors who come to her front door and, ask for love potions, potions of immortality, all kinds of stuff. And that's how she makes her living. It's just by selling potions. Now, Agatha, I wanted her to be just this kind of like, in the words of Nick Kroll, a very cute, adorable, elderly old woman. And that's kind of what she is. She's got these cute little fat cheeks and these nice little freckles and this big sort of bushy gray hair and this giant floppy hat. And she's always wearing her gloves because she's always in her garden. She's got this big flowy sort of cloaky dress scarf type thing going on. Yeah, she's just like extremely adorable and wonderful. Yeah, she's great. So I always like to have my Sims to have like a little bit of a mysterious side, something that makes them like a little more unconventional. So Agatha's twist here is that she has lived in this cottage for as long as anyone in Glimmerbrook has been around, has even been alive. And the rumor has it that she has lived here quite literally forever. That she's been here since the very beginning of Glimmerbrook's founding, that her cottage has been sitting here for hundreds of years, and that she herself is significantly older than she lets on. Maybe she has cracked the code to eternal life in her sort of potion making endeavors. Maybe she's grown a sort of special plant in her backyard that makes her capable of living forever, or crafting a potion that helps her like ward off all illnesses or the effects of aging. She is maybe, reportedly, allegedly, literally immortal. that's Agatha Tuttle. But she's like cool. She's just like a cute old lady who makes potions. So like if anyone's gonna live forever, I hope it's her. But yeah, that's a little bit about the sim that I made this house for. In my mind's eye, in my mind palace, when I was conceiving of this thing, I wanted it to be sort of messy and very cute and a little ramshackle and definitely, overgrown and, things like that. I wanted it really sort of garden-y, witchy type cottage. She's not like an evil person. She's like a very cute, nice, lovely witch person. So her house, is cute and lovely and wonderful. Anyway, this is my first build in Glimmerbrook, which is pretty exciting. But I don't know, when I first opened Glimmerbrook, I was like a little disappointed. What do you guys think of these sort of like game pack worlds? Glimmerbrook, I mean, it has 4 lots. I first saw that and I was like, that kind of sucks. like this isn't like a community with like cool little witchy lots. There's no like potion seller lot in the town. It's pretty it's like really small. It's just like 4 lots of like frankly hideous houses. Like it is shocking to me that that the game's developers like can't build better houses, because they suck. They are so ugly. Maybe one of these days we'll do a Glimmerbrook like rebuild, because they are just so disappointing. But then I did a little bit of gameplay exploration, and I went to the like witchy sort of world, the one that you go through like the little portal, and that was really cool. That world is actually like intensely cool. It has those cool like different like floating islands. They're just kind of like floating in the ether, and these like little portals that you jump to get to each of them, and then there's like this little cute little town where there's shit floating around, and it kind of looks like I don't know, it's just like really, really wonderful. It's not just like a normal town. It's like a different dimension, with like like different like laws of physics and stuff, like just stuff floating and teleportation. It's just like cool. It's really cool. So let me know what you guys think about these sort of worlds that the developers have made. I kind of liked, on first opening the world, I was like, this sucks. Like this shit is boring. But then they have this like sort of hidden world that is so cool and interesting to me. So I think that like more than makes up for it. I think it would be really cool if you were able to live in that world, if there were like residential lots. But I guess, I mean, I haven't really tried it, but I guess that you could theoretically go and build a lot and then rezone it as a residential lot. But I don't know if you would be able to actually live there, if it's more of like a vacation world from like The Sims 3, where you could actually live there, but you could just theoretically be there all the time. But I think that was pretty cool. Definitely Glimmerbrook leaves like quite a bit to be desired. But it is, a good perk is that it is all one neighborhood, so it's like completely free roam, which is very lovely. But yeah, anyway, that's my discourse on Glimmerbrook, my spiel. Why don't I talk about the build that you're all watching? You see that I'm popping in a lot of the landscaping right now. The landscaping is the essential part of this build, because the idea behind this thing is that it's like a garden witch house. She's not like a spooky gothic spellcaster. She's like a cute old herbalist lady. There are naturally quite a billion plants all over this thing. I built that little pond in the corner, which actually is like my favorite part of the build. I think it is so lovely. All the little like grasses and reeds and rocks surrounding it, and the flowers. I'm gonna put that big like pink tree, that one that's in the back, I'm gonna move that up to the front near the pond, and it just makes this like really lovely little space. Like it's very calm and like serene and wonderful, and I love it. I just really love it. I've put vines growing all the way up the chimney at the front of the house. I put those like hanging baskets full of plants and flowers, and I put this sort of, you'll see right up there and above that sort of like window alcove, those like vines that hang over the top of the roof. It's so cute and wonderful and overgrown. I imagine this house as like losing the battle with nature, right? Which is kind of its intent, right? The house is supposed to be very overgrown and sort of like blending in with the scenery, and I think it adds to the sort of like cute hobbity-ness of the house that I sort of originally thought of, but couldn't quite nail down with the roofing. Yeah, I really, really like the landscaping on this thing. I think it's really wonderful, and I'm very, very pleased with it. I'm very happy with the work that I've done. Now you see I'm just working on the sort of back balcony type area. I didn't want this to be like a covered roof because I thought I just really liked the roofing I already had, so I didn't want to mess with it all too much. So I instead built this little, what do you call that? Not like not a trellis, not a pergola. I don't know what you call that. That little thing on top with the plants growing around it. Very lovely. I love that thing. Just a nice little overgrown, adding to the sort of like roof texture plant mess kind of going on. I think it's very wonderful. So now you see I'm gonna move into the interior of the house. Floor plan is pretty basic. It's, you know, you open up into this nice little living room, sitting room type area. Then there's a little fireplace to the left. We'll talk about the fireplace in a sec. Another little hallway that connects the kitchen and the dining room and a little bathroom. These cute little stairs that go upstairs to, you know, a little hallway to the bedroom. Very, very simple. This house is built for one. I mean, it's built for one sim. Theoretically, you could have two because there is a double bed upstairs, but it's built for one sim. And yeah, just like very cute and lovely. Now you see I'm working a little bit on the flooring. I finally decided to think outside the box a little bit and do some of these like fun, funky floor tiles. You know, my favorite French YouTuber, Belpant, please check her out. She's a genius. Her builds are sick. I've been watching a lot of her tutorials, and one of them has been on sort of like fun, funky floor patterns. So I made heavy use of the little, you know, triangle-shaped floor tiles, and I made that cute little wooden parquet that goes around, and then I found that awesome tile, which I decided to just pop in the leftover areas of the floor. That tile is so cool. It's like that like green, red, blue thing going on. I decided that I would like kind of mix it up with the color palette here. I'd let it be a little bit messy. I usually restrict myself to like a pretty limited color palette. I would pick like one sort of accent color to really sort of run with in each of my builds, but here, because I wanted the whole thing to be kind of, you know, messy and kind of all over the place and cute and kitschy and stuff like that, I decided that I'd mix it up a little bit, you know, I'd kind of run with it a little bit. So that floor tile gave me like so many opportunities. This sounds like a ridiculous thing to say about a floor tile. It gave me so many opportunities. Thank you, floor tile. But there's like red and there's green and there's blue, which means that like anything that I put in this little space, right? Any like red, green, blue, accent color pieces, furniture, stuff like that, it all matches. It all matches really, really lovely. So I've got that sort of like bluish green wallpaper with the flowers. I've got the green drapes. I've got, you know, the little like green pillow cushions, and then you'll see me add the little white furniture, and it all comes together very nicely because that floor tile just gave me so many opportunities. Thank you. I'm very grateful for the floor tile. Now you see I'm working on the fireplace. Okay, you know my thing about fireplaces. If you've seen my first video, I talked at length about fireplace realism. I care very much about fireplace realism. I hate when builders just like pop a fireplace onto a house with no chimney. It doesn't make sense to me. It frustrates me to no end. So I did build a chimney in this build. like I always do if I'm gonna have a fireplace. And I wanted it to be at the front of the house because I thought it'd be cute for curb appeal and stuff. But then I went to put the fireplace actually in the house, and I found that there wasn't really enough space. There would have been just like a 1 tile wide opening between the sort of entryway living room area and the rest of the house. So I had to push the fireplace back into the chimney as opposed to like putting it up against the chimney the way that a sort of normal fireplace would be. I mean, I guess theoretically this would still work if the fireplace had like an opening in the top instead of like in the back. You know, I mean, like, you work with what you got, and I mean, I'm not too sad about it. I think it's cute. I like the way that the fireplace is kind of like pushed up in the corner, and there's like a little curtainy area sectioning it off, which honestly probably like extremely irresponsible to put a curtain in front of like a literal open fire, but like, what the hell, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, but that's the deal with the fireplace. So now I'm just working on the rest of the living room. Like I said, super cute, little kitschy. I wanted there to be sort of like fun and like sort of, I mean, honestly, like sort of like ugly, like decorations all over the place. So like that really awful like hen sculpture with the little eggs, the gnomes. You know, I love gnomes. You know, if you saw my first video, I love the gnomes. I wanted there to be books all over this thing because I like to imagine that she's reading a lot and that she's got like spell books sort of hanging around, books on potions, recipe books, things like that. So I gave her like a little bookshelf and those like tomes I put scattered all over the place. My favorite thing about this room definitely is that sort of like built-in like reading nook cushiony area that I put in that sort of window alcove. Love that. I think it's really, really, really cute. It would be like an awesome place to like hang out and read. Unfortunately, it is not functional because there is a wall in the way, and those like ottomans are raised up a couple tiles. If you want it to be functional, you could totally knock out those half walls and just lower the ottomans back onto the floor, and your Sims should be able to sit there. I'm not sure if the curtains will get in the way. I don't think they will, but I have no reason to believe that. So check it out. Do some research yourself if you'd like to. Now you see I'm just working on the kitchen. I love this kitchen. I really, really love this kitchen. I love that like green stove that came with Realm of Magic. I love the sort of multi-tone thing I got going on with the dark wood and that really, really like fun, cool tile that goes on top of the counters. Those also come from Realm of Magic. And then the lighter tones on top, and then the cauldron, which is sort of like the centerpiece of this kitchen. This entire kitchen, despite the fact that it is extremely crammed, I put so much shit just all over the place, is fully functional. Your Sims can use that cauldron. You'll see that I put some like those planter pots up in the corner, and I filled them with herbs, which I assume that your Sim would be using in her, you know, potion brewing. You can use those too. You can plant from the, you know, you can water those plants, you can harvest them, stuff like that. Up on the shelves, you see I just put like a bunch of books, some plants, some candles. You know, if she's, I don't know how much ritual, you know, potion making requires, but if she's, you know, gotta light some candles as part of her potion making ritual, you know, she's feel free to do so. The little wand holder, which I'll pop a wand in later. Those are the little plant pots that I was talking about earlier. I'll put some plants in those later. Oh my god, those things, the like hanging dried flowers and like herbs and stuff, those are the coolest things ever. I love those. I have seen builders use those in so many different builds, and even just like in normal builds, like in farmhouse builds or just like normal sort of like rustic-y kitchen type things. Oh my god, and I've been wanting those things for so long. I'm so glad I finally have them. They're so lovely. So I put those up there too. You see me pop a bunch of potions in from debug, that your Sims feel free to just drink them, go for it, whatever. Those are, you know, I imagine those are potions that she's been working on that she's gonna sell to her neighbors. Yeah, and I just sort of clutter this entire kitchen up. Honestly, this whole house is just like clutter to the max, which is my style. I love clutter. Those bottles, which you see me put in quite literally every build I ever make, you will see them in quite literally every build I ever make. I think they're awesome. I put those up on the shelf above the stove. You know, like she's got to grab some olive oil while she's cooking, or cooking wine or whatever. Yeah, and just all the other sort of kitchen clutter items that I love. That little scale, which I'm glad I finally have a use for, because I imagine she'll be weighing different types of ingredients while she's cooking up potions in her giant cauldron. And the little spice rack, cookie jar, a couple of boxes and plants, and of course that little tea maker. She's a tea drinker. Obviously she's a tea drinker. You know, she's making little herbal teas and stuff like that. Of course, my favorite pans in the entire world, which I put in brass. Yeah, and that's about it for the kitchen. The kitchen I'm very, very, very pleased with. I just think it's super cute, super crammed, like really packed to the brim with clutter and kitsch and potion making supply. It's great. I love it. Now you see I'm working on this little dining room. Dining room is super tiny. I didn't really have a lot of space here, but I mean that's kind of how I wanted it to be quite honest with you. Like I this entire build, this sort of premise was like cute and cozy and cluttered. And so you see me put those dining room chairs in, and they just sort of occupy like almost every square inch of this room. They look massive in this tiny little space, but that's kind of how I wanted it. Yeah, I just put in some books and plants and cute little, you know, sculptures and stuff. I get rid of that pig, and I eventually put a tank with a frog in it. I actually was very particular about the types of like plants and ingredient quote type things that I put in the slot, because I wanted it to be pretty easy for your Sims to make more advanced potions. So I went on the wiki, and I researched what potion ingredients are sort of the most important. And I found that there is like one type of frog that is important in one type of potion. So that's the frog that I put in the dining room. You know, it's it's kind of a shame that your Sim is gonna like eat the frog. But I mean, maybe it just uses its like secretions or something. Maybe you don't actually like eat the frog. Let's hope that you don't actually eat the frog. I don't know what happens when you try to like consume the frog in the potion thing. I don't know if it goes away if you like throw the frog in the pot. But you know, witches do that shit all the time. Eye of Newt and stuff. Like you gotta like take the eye out. So I mean, what are you gonna do? Those are the prices that your Sims are gonna have to be willing to pay if they're gonna live, you know, be immortal and make potions and stuff. So that's too bad. Now you see I'm working on the sort of like landing, second floor area. Just wanted like a lot of portraits and like family pictures, stuff like that. There wasn't a lot of space in this little area, so I think I just put like a little chair and some plants and some framed pictures. I get rid of that ottoman. It's too big. But yeah, just like a cute little landing. Nothing really to it. Some lights. This is just the landing that goes up. I didn't want the stairs to go directly into her bedroom. I thought that would be too modern, you know, too like lofty. This isn't like that's not what I was going for. Now you see I'm working on my witch's bedroom. This took me quite a bit of finagling. I struggled a lot trying to figure out like matching bed and wall tones. I definitely wanted it to be like a little attic-y. I really liked that one wallpaper, the one that I have right now, which is what I settle on, because it has those very tall wooden panelings. I like that. I just kind of thought it made it look more like an attic, which I really, really liked. I put that bed up in the sort of alcove window area. That bed is functional, even though there's not a lot of space between, you know, the wall and the sides of the bed that your Sim's going to be like shimmying their way up to when they're going to sleep. I put a bookshelf, a carpet, little wardrobe, lots of candles, and that's about it. That voodoo doll, which I found, I didn't know that there were voodoo dolls in The Sims 4. I feel like everyone knows these things. I feel like I'm always coming across these items that like everyone already knows about. But there's a voodoo doll, so that's sick. This witch, she's nice. She's not gonna be like putting curses on anybody. And voodoo is real. Don't mess with that shit. I saw this Twitter post about this girl who like summoned like a I don't know what they're called, a spirit, in like the, tradition of Haitian voodoo, and then promptly she died. So don't mess with those evil spirits. They're real. Listen to what people are telling you. People practice this shit in their real lives, and if they tell you not to mess with it, don't mess with it. So there is a voodoo doll in her room, but like I said, don't mess with it. Yeah, so just sort of messing around a little bit more with the bed area. I wanted it, I tried to put those little countertops in to make it a little bit more built in, but in the end I decided to go for something a little bit more simple, just keeping the bed sort of like pushed up against the wall. Now I'm working in the bathroom. I'm very, very happy with this bathroom as well. Usually when I'm building bathrooms, I struggle quite a bit with layout, because there are like things in bathrooms that are built in, like your shower. It's kind of weird to like see a shower just sticking out from a wall. Usually it's sort of like embedded in a little like one tile alcove. So I had the room, I had the space this time in this build, to sort of like give a dedicated space to the shower and to the toilet, and even have space for a bathtub and a little, what do you call that? Shelf, a little shelf with a bunch of like bathroom items. And I just think it ended up being really lovely and really cute. And I like to imagine, your sim hanging out, lighting some candles, taking a bath. Yeah, I'm very, very pleased with that. Now I'm going to jump into the backyard. The backyard is all garden. That is the purpose of this backyard. Okay, let's be very real about development and planning. Lawns suck. Lawns, they suck. Lawns are... Alright, we're gonna get into it. Lawns are symbols of status. Lawns mean that you have land that you don't need to be using for growing food, It means you're like a rich person who... I mean, okay, obviously lawns don't mean that anymore, but when lawns were first conceived of, in sort of estates for the wealthy and the aristocratic, lawns meant that you had land, you owned land that didn't even need to be used. You were just going to spend your money on this land and not use it, which nobody, except the very rich, had the luxury of doing. So, that's my spiel about lawns. You'll get another spiel in the future, I promise, about lawns. So, I made this whole backyard a huge garden. It's just this huge, beautiful, functional garden. You see that I put gardens in a lot of my builds. Because I am opposed to lawns as an ideological concept, but also because gardening is fun and it's nice. And my sim is a potion maker, and so they're gonna need all this fun, fancy, witchy crops when they're making their potions. So, like I like to do, I went into the gallery and I found a lovely room just packed with these perfect, quote unquote perfect plants. So I grabbed death flower and mandrake and some other root, and I put some herbs. There's basil and there's parsley. I put mushrooms, and of course apple trees, because apples are actually a pretty important ingredient, it seems, in a lot of the potions that your sims can make. So yes, this entire backyard is one massive garden. I packed this thing full of plants. I swear to God, if your CPUs like start overclocking because of all the debug plants I put in this thing, like, I am sorry. I am sorry. I have a very bad processor on my computer, and the debug plants were doing fine. Let's be real. My computer, my rig can figure it out. It was doing all right. So hopefully your computers are working just fine with all the plants that I pop in this thing. But like I said, I wanted this entire house to be overgrown. I wanted to be losing the battle with nature, because that's the point. This is a person, my sim is someone who loves the outdoors and loves gardening and loves like being in nature. She's very herbalist, in her sort of like magical interests. Her interests are in nature and plants and gardening, and potion making. So yeah, that's sort of, this is her milieu, this is where she likes to be. This is where she feels comfortable. So I decided that I would just make this whole thing overgrown, full of plants, and that's the way I like it. But yeah, I put a lot of grasses. I wanted it to look sort of unkempt, like nature sort of like creeping up back into, to take over, back into its rightful place in this yard. So I have lots of trees, lots of plants, lots of grasses, even some little mushrooms cropping up here and there. I put in that little like storage shed. I mean, there's nothing in it. It's purely decorative. There's nothing really in there. I guess you could put like a woodworking table, or if you have the I don't have this one, but if you have the flower arrangement desk, what do you call that, flower arrangement thing? I don't know what pack that comes in, but if you have that, that would be a perfect little place for that. I just put some boxes, some little like sketches up on the wall, lots of plants, like potted plants and gardening tools, those little sacks of fertilizer and what do you call those, watering cans, stuff like that. Yeah, that's like her little storage shed for all of her gardening tools. As a sim, a witchy gardening sim will need. Now just adding those flowers, those little white, yellow, grassy flowers. Love those things. I plop those all over the place. A little archway and seating and a little bird feeder, and yeah, just fill in this thing. I want it to be super cute. I want it to look like a really lovely old person gardener lives here. And now you see I'm just popping some lights in, and that's gonna be it for this build. So thank you everyone for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and yeah, check me out on Twitter. Got a Reddit page too now, so that's cool. And expect some good ass content coming your way. Hope you guys are staying safe. Let's check out some screenshots. See you later.